Hi folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report. I wanted to talk a little bit about bucktail jigs because, again, I think they could be your friend as well as mine. I think a lot of you, if you took the time to learn how to fish them, they could be your savior. They could take days that you wouldn't get a strike and turn it into a success. But there's a lot of things to think about. And I'm going to kind of break that down. Number one is the size of bucktail you use. Obviously, if you're fishing for little trout, you don't want to use a great big bucktail, but just the opposite. If you're trying to get the attention of a big fish like a northern pike or a muskie or a big bass, you want something that at least is going to show up in the water. So the weight and the size of that is important. And I'll tell you what, the weight is really important. We could break a whole report down just into the weight. The heavier the bucktail you use, the different it's going to fall as it goes down. It's going to have a different motion as it goes down. And that could be good or that could be bad. The advantage of using something as big as I was using, which was 1/4 of an ounce, and to me that's a lot when I'm not fishing a current area, is that you're going to be able to cast it much farther than you would a lighter bucktail. But the weight really makes a difference. Now let's look at an 1/8 ounce, how different that would be. Same color, same everything, but an 1/8 of an ounce. As it goes down, you can make it flutter and hop more because it's lighter. It's going to respond easier. So that could be the difference. The other thing that you have to be aware of is color. And like any other bait, the color is going to make friends or enemies out of people because we're all going to have a different color that we think works best. So maybe it's important, maybe it isn't. But in the case of the last several times I've gone out, pink and yellow or pink and white have been the colors that elicited the most strikes. And that is with smallmouth, it's with largemouth bass, and it's with northern pike. I don't know what it is about that color because it doesn't look like anything they're going to eat. If it was steelhead, I'd say, well, that's different because salmon eggs might be pink. But we're not even talking about that. But pink and white is excellent. But remember, the different times of the day is going to make different colors work better because of light and clarity. The other thing that I think is really critical to think about is the length of that bucktail. And you can buy a name brand, and you can buy a dozen 1/4 ounce or 1/8 ounce, whatever size you want, and some of them are going to be longer or shorter than others, I guess based on the size of the hair in the buck's tail. But more, all joking aside, that can make a really big difference. And if you're really serious about having just the right size bucktail, you might better pick them out in a store than order them online where you can actually see the difference in sizes. And it can vary an awful lot. And finally, material. That buck's tail, and that's what they're called, bucktail jigs. But those hair fibers could be made out of a lot of different type of hair. And one in particular that a lot of people think is the most sensational is marabou, because marabou is very fine. It's like feathers. And every time that jig falls in the water, moves in the water, every one of those little fibers sort of pulsate and move, and it looks like ultra alive of anything you can use. Bottom line is, though, you get where you can fish bucktails, where you can move them in the way that you've found they work the best, whether that's jigging them up and down, crawling them along the bottom. You can do just about anything with them. Your imagination is the limit, and that can go forever. So if you haven't tried bucktails, give them a look. And if you don't like it, then you don't like it. But I'm going to tell you, I've got more faith on that one lure than any other lure in the world. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meissner with the North Country Fishing Report.